My name is Jared Wright, and I've been an artist for about 6 years now. I got started as an artist kind of in the normal way where I just liked art, started drawing more, kind of taking it a little bit more seriously after high school. So I would just paint and draw a lot. Social media came along and helped me, making a career out of it. Kind of just went from there, just sharing stuff on social media and then making prints of my work and then getting clients. Yeah, that's pretty much how it started. So skateboarding and art crossed paths pretty early. I've been skateboarding since I was in fourth grade. That was where I got all my art, was from like the CCS catalog and the Active catalog. That was the coolest stuff anyway, just seeing all the new graphics like that. When I would, draw and paint, most of it was inspired by that stuff. Once I started taking it more seriously, I started to learn a lot of the artists that were making that stuff, and now I even know some of them. And yeah, I just kind of went from there, and then I kind of just tried to transition it into like what I call fine art. Does skateboarding give me inspiration for my work? It does give me inspiration, but I think it inspires me more just as a culture. And just the actual skateboarding that you see nowadays is so rad that it makes me want to skate, which I think that helps me be creative. It's a good outlet to not think about art for a while and do something I love and then come back to it with a fresh perspective. So definitely inspires me. My favorite thing about being an artist is just the freedom of being able to do what you want. If I pick up a paintbrush or a pencil or whatever, I can just do whatever I want to, whatever I want to paint, whatever I want to draw. I mean, unless it's for a client, but nowadays I choose them so that even when I'm doing something for them, it's something that I'm interested in. So yeah, just the freedom to do what I want and to work from home and to see my art on skateboards and to see my art in people's houses or on t-shirts or in a magazine or whatever is always super rad. A buddy of mine, Jeff, I was at his house, this was a while ago, but his roommate, he knows I do designs and stuff, and we were watching Thrasher, and Jaws was in it or something, and he was skating a board I designed, and I was like, oh, I designed that, and his roommate was like, oh, what the hell? And then like the next ad came on, and it was, I forgot who it was, but he was wearing a shirt I designed, and I was like, hey, I designed that. And he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And it's like, it was rare because normally I go on Thrasher, I don't see that, but it was funny, just like two in a row, and I was like, damn, that's kind of weird, like my stuff is really out there. But anyway, I have a buddy, and he was on a road trip, and he was in Tennessee, and I ended up flying up there to go to a concert with him, and we hung out for a few days, and we ended up going to another concert, this band called J. Roddy Walston and the Business, who they're one of my favorite bands, and I did a bunch of work for them, and we went to the show, and the entire merch booth was stuff that I did, like it was all my designs, and everyone there was like, dude, half the people there had my shirts and poster, like the poster, I did the poster for that tour. So people are walking around with them and had shirts on. It was really weird. Everybody around me is wearing designs that I drew. The whole merch booth is like designs I drew. And it was really surreal. It was very cool. And my buddy was like, if I drew that, I'd be telling everybody. It was cool though. It was fun. I liked that. That was like a first-hand experience.
So my name is Austin McCurry, and I've been filming for around 7-8 years. When I first started filming, I was originally just filming skateboarding with my friends, filming each other get different tricks at the local rec center, and we were probably around 5 or 6 years old. And as time went on, it just became more relevant, and I did it more and more and started to enjoy it, so I just never really stopped. Skateboarding has definitely given me inspiration for the rest of my work too, just because so much of it's movement. So I've definitely used a lot of motion and a lot of things that I cut in skateboarding to incorporate into my normal work also. Alright, so I would say that my favorite part about being a filmmaker is the opportunities it's given me. I don't think I would have as many of them in any other career path I would have chosen. It's allowed me to go to other countries and get random jobs in Greece, Italy, the Bahamas. Half of my dream was to travel. And when it first started out, I didn't think it was really going to be possible. And then just one random year, I had 4 different jobs in 4 different countries, and it was just out of the blue. And it was just because of filmmaking, nothing else. I don't think that if I was a fireman or a police officer or any of the other career paths I wanted to go with, that would have happened. But because of filmmaking it did.
My name's Mike Francisco, and I've been doing Restore for about 2 years. Restore is an outreach, a street ministry, where we're going to go into places that the church doesn't normally reach to reach people with the love of Jesus. When I first started Restore, it was a homeless ministry. And we were using skateboards to get around in the downtown area to bring food to the homeless. And we would be able to cover a lot of ground. And I got the bug that skateboarding gives everybody. And I really started to enjoy it. So then I started wanting to do it. So I started going to parks. And as I would skate, I started to notice that there's a lot of bad influences in skateboarding. There's a lot of more positive influences, but the bad influence I feel like outweighs. So we had gone to the Bro Bowl. I was learning to skate. I had my son with me at the time. He was 10. And I met a 12-year-old kid named Isaac that was so high he couldn't stand up. And it was then that I knew that we had to go into skate parks and try to be a positive role models, bring the light, bring love, and just show these kids a hope and a future that they don't normally get. Because skate parks have kind of become a babysitter for single parents, where they just drop a kid off at 2 o'clock in the afternoon after he gets out of school, and he's there until 9 o'clock at night. And they're under the influence of some people that just don't have their best interests in mind. So that's kind of how it started to get together. How did skateboarding influence me? I grew up playing in punk rock bands and being into punk rock, and I used to go, to the city at night and go to shows, and that culture has always been kind of intertwined with skateboarding. And I'd always been around skateboarding, but I'd never skated until I was 40, and I started the nonprofit. And skateboarding always influenced my life. It was always part of my life because I was into punk rock and hardcore. Skateboarding, clothing, and being around skateboarders and playing shows at skate parks was something that we normally did. My favorite thing about doing Restore is that look that someone gives you when they don't understand why you're showing them love because they're not used to it. And I think that the world is not used to seeing love, like an unconditional love, like I don't care whether you don't need to love me back, you don't need to do anything back for me, this is for you. Whether it's food or a bike or a Bible or a prayer, just praying for somebody or telling someone that, encouraging someone. The world doesn't do that. The world's not really about going out and encouraging and caring for other people. The world's very self-centered, and it's about what you can get at that moment, right? It's about me, me, me. And what we do is we go out and love people when they don't expect it and where they don't expect it. And that look, that little bit of brightness that you bring into someone's life that you see in their eyes is worth all of it.